The NFL draft is almost here, and the Philadelphia Eagles just got some huge updates that could reveal what's coming next, as the news just dropped that Philly officially met with one of their most exciting draft targets, and it's seeming more and more likely that Howie Roseman could be looking to swing a big trade to move up and get him. Meanwhile, the Birds also brought in several other guys on pre-draft visits, while the hype is only growing around another first-round target that the Eagles have met with. Plus, several other exciting prospects were just linked to Philly. So in this video, I'm going to break down all the latest Eagles draft news, and I'm starting right now. The NFL draft is just over a week away, and things are really starting to heat up, as the rumor mill and buzz linking certain prospects to certain teams is louder than ever, and for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's no different, as there have been tons of speculation and rumors flying around about who the Birds may add to their team when draft weekend rolls around in just one short week, and there's definitely a few positions in particular that fans are really looking for the Birds to add some players at, perhaps none more than the safety position, as of course that's probably the biggest area of concern on their roster right now after what transpired earlier this offseason. And of course, I'm referring to the surprise trade that went down on just the second day of free agency that sent CJ Gardner-Johnson to the Houston Texans in exchange for guard Kenyon Green, with the draft pick swap happening there as well. And this is a move that I know a lot of Eagles fans still aren't very happy about, as CJ seemed to have found a home in this city after signing a 3-year deal here in the 2024 offseason, and the value he brought to the Eagles defense was just undeniable. I mean, he was often referred to as the heartbeat of Philly's defense, as the energy, toughness, attitude, and swagger that he brought to the unit was pretty darn important. Not to mention the fact that the guy also just had a knack for making big plays, most notably snagging 12 interceptions during his 2 seasons in Philly, 6 in each season. So even though there's obviously a reason why the Eagles traded him, that being to save money and extend other guys, losing CJ still definitely does leave a pretty big hole in the Birds' defense, and one that sorely needs to be filled by somebody. Now, option 1 would be to have an internal option step up, with the main guy that's been mentioned for the job being the soon-to-be third-year man, Sidney Brown. Now, I've said in previous videos that there's a lot that I do like about Sid, including the energy and intensity that he plays with, his hard-hitting style, and just his splash play ability and overall potential. That said, I've also made it clear that Sid has some areas that he must improve in, and the main thing that he's going to have to do to become a good player is to just slow down a bit, be more disciplined, and just play under a little more control. Now, if he can do that, I think Sidney Brown can be a really good player, but we also don't know how much the Birds trust him, and if they trust him enough to go into training camp with him as the presumed starter next to safety Reed Blankenship. And then, of course, you also have another guy like Lewis Cine, who was a former first-round pick. He's another Philly dog, so obviously the Birds like him too. But that said, like Sid, he's very unproven. So it definitely would make sense for the Eagles to possibly add a safety early in this draft if they just aren't super confident in either one of those guys. And that's why one of their latest top 30 visits makes so much sense, and it's also super exciting, as after tons of speculation and rumors linking potential first-round pick Malaki Starks to Philly, it was officially reported on Monday that the Eagles have used one of their top 30 visits on him. And again, this is super exciting because not only is Starks another Georgia Bulldog that has played with many of the current Philly dogs, but he's also just one of the best safety prospects in this entire draft class, hands down. I mean, there's a reason that there's been so much hype around him and the possibility of him coming to Philly, because, I mean, the guy just has so many awesome traits that suggest that he's going to be a really good NFL safety. I mean, for starters, his fast and physical play style has allowed him to be a really, really good run defender, as Starks shines when he's getting downhill towards the line of scrimmage and can shut down running lanes or quick passes with his recognition and secure tackling ability. And then in terms of his coverage ability, while he does have some things he does need to work on, the potential is clearly there, and he also very clearly already has some great natural ability in zone coverage. And that's not to mention that he's got good ball skills as well, and has shown the ability to take the football away. And also, he's just a hard-hitting safety in general, and yet another guy who, like CJ Gardner-Johnson, plays with a lot of energy. So yeah, I mean, there's a reason why he's one of the top safeties in this entire draft class, and personally, I would love if the Eagles were to take him. Now, he's probably going to go earlier than 32, so the Birds would likely have to trade up to get him, but for the right price, again, I think it'd make a ton of sense for Philly. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. I mean, could Howie Roseman and the Eagles actually be looking to trade up to go get Malaki Starks? Again, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. And again, with Starks coming in on a top 30 visit, the chances of him actually landing in Philadelphia just got significantly higher because as we all know, those top 30 visits have historically been extremely important for Philly, especially recently, as they've been very indicative of who the Birds will eventually end up taking. And just today, both Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni had a press conference discussing the upcoming draft, and in it, Howie talked about the importance of those top 30 visits and why the Eagles believe they're so valuable.
We have changed a little bit in how we approach the top 30, and like everything, it's an information gathering process for us. The whole draft process is gathering information, constantly gathering information. So for us, it's really just trying to fill in a lot of the blanks. And the more we get to know people, the more that we expose them to not only us, but people around us, the better we get a feel for them. So we think they're incredibly valuable for us.
Yeah, so again, those top 30 visits are clearly super, super important, and they give you a pretty good picture of what the Eagles might decide to do. And now at this point, with the final day for top 30 visits being on April 16th, which is tomorrow as I'm recording this video, the majority of the Birds' visits have been reported, so right now we got a pretty clear picture of what they may look to do. And that includes likely adding an offensive lineman just with how many prospects the Birds have had visits with. And that now includes West Virginia tackle Wyatt Milum, who is a 4-year starter for the Mountaineers and has played both the left tackle and right tackle positions. So he's clearly got a lot of versatility, and in terms of his play style, he plays with a lot of power, which shows up both in pass protection and run blocking. He's got great hand placement and a quick first step in pass pro, and he's also just got a high football IQ. So overall, he's a pretty intriguing day 2 prospect. Now, he does have a deficiency being his arm length, so that has led many people to think that he might end up actually playing guard at the NFL level, and that'd be interesting considering the Eagles' current situation at right guard. So, we'll see what happens there. And same goes for the running back position, as it seems like the Eagles could be looking to add some depth there as well, as they just had a visit this morning with Syracuse running back LeQuint Allen. And Allen is an intriguing day 3 prospect given that he has a very unique skill set as he really shines as a receiving back with many of his best plays coming in that area. And on top of that, he's also a really good interior runner, and he also has some good awareness and pass protection. So again, as a day 3 prospect, he could make sense to add some depth at the running back position. And then moving on, one of the Birds' other recent top 30 visits makes it seem like they're potentially looking to add some depth at the linebacker position, as the Birds just met with Penn State linebacker Kobe King, who just recorded 97 tackles and 3 sacks for the Nittany Lions defense last year, while also making second team All Big Ten. And he's also got some impressive traits too, as King shines when getting downhill in a run defense, as he has natural instincts there, and is a guy who will lay the boom with some big hits when he gets the chance. Plus, he also has showed some flashes in being able to get after the quarterback. Now, that said, King definitely does have some limitations in coverage, but as a day 3 pick to add some depth at the linebacker position after losing Oren Burks and with Nakobe Dean's injury, Kobe King could definitely make a lot of sense for the Birds. And someone else who I think makes a lot of sense as a potential first-round target for Philly is Boston College edge rusher Donovan Ezeiruaku, who the Birds also had a top 30 visit with a while back. And as I said in a video when that news initially came out, I really like Ezeiruaku, as he was just an overall really productive player in college, putting up 20.5 tackles for loss and also having a school record 16.5 sacks last season, which is just insane. So he's obviously a natural pass rusher, plus he's also got insane bend, probably the best in the entire class, as I've seen some people say, and he also has the ability to stop the run and is just overall a really exciting prospect. And NFL analyst and former offensive lineman Brian Baldinger seems to agree with that, as he praised Ezeiruaku in a recent film breakdown.
This Donovan Ezeiruaku here from Boston College has a lot of traits that transfer to the NFL. Like, he likes to swim inside, but this is what you like right here. Like, his hands on the ground right there. His ability to bend, all right, fluidly, because he's got an array of moves now, all right? It's not just swims. It's not just ability to dip and rip. You watch him come off the edge right here. Like, he's going to spin to win right here. His spin is good. It's really good. It's quick and it's smooth. He's got the hook with the elbow right there. Now, you're not going to spin a lot on the inside at the NFL level and win. You're just not. You're going to get your head taken off. But you don't want to get deeper than the quarterback either. So here he is. He's going to spin once he sees himself getting deeper than the quarterback. Smart. He's a smart guy. He's also a Jersey guy, South Jersey guy, all right? Jersey strong, all right? So he's come up through all the systems there. But it usually plays out of a 2-point stance. Like, you watch this twist stunt right here with the end or at the tackle. Here's the twist. Now watch him beat the guard, all right? Short area quickness. Like, you like the quick feet, all right? And the ability to be able to slip. Now, he's also got a little cross chop right here. You hit him with the cross chop. Here we go. Like, bam. Now watch the bend and the dip. Here he comes. And the flatten to get to the quarterback. He's got a pretty good arsenal of moves, all right? He's got a lot to like. A lot of this stuff transfers to the NFL level right here. Get ready for the celebrations.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear just watching that Ezeiruaku has a deep bag of pass rushing moves and a lot of positive traits that will transfer over to the NFL level. And I also think if he were to come to the Eagles specifically, he'd obviously benefit a lot from playing under Vic Fangio while also playing alongside guys like Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. So again, if the Eagles were to take Donovan Ezeiruaku at pick 32, I'd be very happy with that. And I feel the same way about Tennessee edge rusher James Pearce Jr., who, despite not having come in on a top 30 visit as of the time of this recording, he has been linked to the Eagles a lot in recent days, and that includes in a recent mock draft by CBS Sports' Jared Dubin, as he has Philly taking the Tennessee pass rusher late in the first round, saying, quote, "The Eagles elected to use their early picks on a secondary a year ago, but they typically build through the trenches. Pearce is someone who was thought to be a top prospect, but has seemingly been falling down draft boards, and that's exactly the type of guy Philly likes to nab at the end of the first round." Now, honestly, I couldn't agree more with that statement, because the past 2 years, in fact, we've seen the Birds take bigger name guys who, for whatever reason, have unexpectedly fallen in the draft, and it's paid off big time for them, whether it was Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean last year, or Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith the year before. So, if the same were to happen this year with James Pearce, and he fell to the Eagles at 32 and they took him, I would be super happy with that, because as I talked about in a recent video, I think Pearce has the potential to be a really good player, given his quick first step, aggressive play style, natural pass rushing ability, putting up 17 sacks the past 2 years, and also his ability to set the edge against the run, among other things. And as for his presumed character concerns, which is the reason that he might fall in the first place, those don't worry me as much as they do some of these other scouts for reasons that I explained in a recent video. So, you guys can go check that video out after this one if you're interested. But again, if James Pearce Jr. were to fall to the Eagles at 32 and they took him, I would be absolutely all for it. However, something I would be very much against is what NFL analyst Todd McShay just suggested.
Eamon is my only player in the top 32 that we didn't draft.
Okay.
I do think with the Eagles, keep an eye on the Dallas Goedert situation. I could see Mason Taylor.
Ooh, he's my
right?
tight end 3. We talked about him this week. Yeah.
I think Mason Taylor could be interesting there.
Look, I want to make this clear. In no way am I against the Eagles taking Mason Taylor in this draft, because the LSU tight end is actually a really exciting prospect given the fact that he has good size, great hands, good athleticism, and an ability to run after the catch, along with other good qualities. And I think that he would make a lot of sense for the Eagles to bring him in as the eventual replacement for Dallas Goedert. However, I say that assuming the Eagles would take Taylor in maybe the 3rd round or around there, because in no way do I think he's worth a first-round pick. So hopefully they don't do that. I mean, I have a hard time thinking they would, but still, that's something to keep your eye on as we get closer to the draft. And then, of course, you also have to remember that the Eagles are pretty likely to make multiple trades throughout the course of this draft, and that's something that Howie Roseman pretty much reinforced with some comments during the recent press conference.
Understanding that there was opportunities to maybe get aggressive. With that also comes risks, right? All those moves don't always work out, and it's probably more conservative to just stand pat, stay where you are, whether it's with players on your team or during the draft, and kind of see what comes to you. When you trade up in a draft, you got to deal with the consequences of who ends up being there with the slot you move out on. And sometimes you say, man, I could have sat there and got this player. And so you have to deal with that too. For me, I think that being aggressive has always been part of my DNA, and feel fortunate that I have people around me who support that, Coach, Jeffrey, and it allows us to take chances and to try to be aggressive.
Yeah, so again, look out for multiple trades from the Eagles during draft weekend, whether it's moving up or moving down to acquire more picks or making a move to add a vet player. And honestly, these comments only make me feel like it's even more possible that Howie and the Birds could trade up for Malaki Starks or another top prospect. And of course, there's going to be plenty more Eagles draft news, rumors, and updates flying around here over the next week before the big event actually gets here. So if you guys don't want to miss any coverage on that, then make sure you guys are subscribed and you have notifications turned on, because again, I'm going to be covering it all here on this channel. So again, subscribe, turn on notifications, and also drop a like on this video as well to show some support, because it really does help me out a ton. See if we can get to at least 500 likes on today's video. And also leave a comment down below, again, just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. Which one of the prospects that I mentioned in this video would you most want the Eagles to go after? Again, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video going over some crazy trade rumors that the Birds have gotten in recent days, you can check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.